All righty, everyone. Welcome. So glad to have you all here. Even if I'm not terribly sure where here is. So I think that the hardest thing for the me to wrap its mind around is that this, could say moment, this right here, whatever's happening right now, this is it. There's nothing else happening. And that's the problem for the me, is it's always living somewhere else. Either in the past, which is imagination, memories, or in an imagined future. I love the way Tim Cliss said it today during his Nothing FM broadcast. He said, there isn't anything more. Where would it be? I love that. Because that just cuts the legs off of more. Where would it be? That's an idea. That's a fantasy that there's more than this. And what this is, we can't say. And that's the plight of the me, is it's trying to understand something that it's not capable of understanding, and thus the frustration. It's counterintuitive, but the freedom is in the not knowing. The me's entire illusory world is built on knowledge. First, we at some point realize we are as a baby. And as soon as we have a sense of location, I exist, then I discover there's other than me. So mama, dad, my room, my things, things that are not mine. And now I'm in the world of duality, whether I like it or not. Nobody asked. You didn't get a letter. Well, by the way, you're going to be born and everything's going to completely be confusing. Good luck. It's funny. It's such a paradox, this message, because it's both a complete and total mystery, and yet it's not mysterious at all. Because it's very obvious. It's just what's happening. It's not hidden. There's no behind the curtains. It's just this, whatever's appearing, whatever sensations, good or bad, positive or negative, pleasant or unpleasant. But when the me's on the scene, it's going to pick and choose. But there's nothing to pick and choose from. There's just this, and this is everything. But it's not seen as everything because my attention is on the future, something better, something to come. So really, this is about just stopping, just like putting your bags down. Realizing you don't actually go anywhere. That what's holding the movement is non-movement. And nobody's making any of it happen. Life becomes more magical, truly. So a sunset is just beautiful for no reason. It doesn't need a reason. It's just stunning. Or a flower, or anything. Because all we have is our stories. And none of them are ever true. Not a one. And there's so much freedom in that. You're no longer bound by your own stories. That's what being a me is. A me is having a story. I'm me. I have a life. That's my story. Let me tell you about it. And that's what the me's are all doing. They're running around. Let me tell you about my life. Now, of course, they're not really interested in your life, the other me's. Oh yeah, they'll give an ear, but they're really, if we're honest, only interested in their story. And that's true for every me. Every me cares about his own ass, full stop. So let's not pretend otherwise. And why is the me so concerned with its story? Because that's where it lives, in story. That's all it's got. Without a story, there's no me. So feel free to unmute, and if you have any questions, comments, anything you'd like to share, please jump in.
Michael, I would just say that other people not caring about what's going on with me is I like that. I actually use that. You know, if I'm having crazy thoughts, it's like I'm the only one having it. Nobody else cares. Nobody else, they're in their own crap. And it's actually somewhat of a relief, right? even if there's, I mean, maybe there's envy or jealousy, things like that, which I experience with to other people, but that's just I don't care about anything else. Of course, my kid, that is true, although I will say with my kids, it's not, it's sort of in the middle because, you know, there's something there that it makes it like I'd rather myself be hurt than my kids or whatever. It's just a fact. So,
Mhm.
but outside of that,
Yeah, well, I think for every father, they would have a similar sentiment, or for most, I shouldn't say all, but I think most would have that sentiment. But do you still get the sense that that is a me that has personal interest in your daughter? And that's completely natural. So the beauty of this sharing, this message, is far from becoming disassociated from this human experience. You actually are freed up to, dare I say, enjoy the different flavors, the different personalities, the different colors, the different sounds. You're now no longer so obsessed every second with how you feel about what's happening, to simply being and delighting in the magic show that's happening every second right here in our face, but we miss it because we're so locked into our story repetitively, obsessively. And when that grinds to a halt, we're talking about the end of seeking. That's it. It's not mysterious. This isn't woo-woo. It's not mystical. It's simply the end of seeking. And that leaves you right here where you've always been.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah. Hi, Joan.
Hi. I was thinking when I was walking today that when I practice yoga, the way I do it now is to relax into the pose. When I first started yoga, I used to muscle into it and really push to stretch. And I was just coming from the completely wrong direction. And so now when I do yoga, it's relaxing into the pose. And I'm wondering if this, state of, whatever we're referring to is just about relaxing into space, just relaxing into it. It's not, the movement isn't intellectual. It's in the other, it's the opposite direction of intellectual. That makes sense?
Yeah. I mean, it does to me. I completely
So
get it.
so that came to me like an epiphany. It's like when I was muscling into that yoga pose and I was like pushing and stretching, I wasn't getting anywhere. But then I started doing the opposite and I relax into the pose and elongate the muscles and stretch it all out. And so this thing that is so contracted is the same thing as yoga. If you just relax into the pose and you relax into it, it expands and opens up.
Yeah.
That was the epiphany I had today.
Nice. That's beautiful, Joan. And I think I'm feeling to call on Alan, because I know Alan talks. Alan, can you say a few words about pitchers and the relaxation during pitching and what a difference it makes than being tight with the mechanics?
Well, first of all, Joan, I love your metaphor because I taught yoga for about 15 years, and that is a huge transition when someone goes from the trying and the effort to allowing. And so I would say with pitching, really any sport, probably playing a guitar, right?
We could say anything, actually.
Yeah, pretty much. But specifically to baseball, it's all about being, loose and free and in that flow, of course, and not into the head and it's kind of like that right brain, left brain. And so, yeah, but I really love that. That was a great metaphor, Joan. It just, it actually settled me when you were talking into this idea of relaxing into the meditation.
And when you relax, trust is inherent in that movement towards relaxation, because you can't relax unless there's a trust element.
Yeah. Very powerful. Trust is a powerful word.
And mind, like, is not going to do that. This is where the defenses are.
Well, notice, Joan, that you need to leave that relaxation that you were just so beautifully talking about. I could hear it in your voice. Like as soon as you shifted, you went into this kind of guttural, and you could get sensitive to feeling the difference. And when you start to get, I call it heating up. I call it spinning. When you're thinking, I call it you're spinning. When you're lost in story, to me, it feels like there's something spinning and it actually heats up. When you're angry, I've talked about this with the cartoons with the smoke coming out of your ears when they're angry, it's literally, so you begin to notice that, wait a second, when I constrict and when I try and get it just right, I'm not having fun. But when I relax and enjoy it like a child, isn't that what we remember from childhood, playing for hours and getting lost with our toys, and time would fly by? There was no stress. It was all joy. And we've lost that. We've become, a society of worker bees, basically killing yourself to work just to put food and shelter. And it's too high a price for some of us. Now, there's a lot of people that can make it work. But I find that the ones that are drawn to non-duality, they don't feel good about any constriction, any imprisonment. They don't like being told what to do. You may have noticed that about yourself. You're not good at following the herd.
Dissidents, bunch of dissidents.
So that's what's so beautiful about this meeting, is because you are in the presence of like-minded. Hallelujah. Yeah, Faith?
My epiphany today earlier was that we worship feelings. It's like feelings are my God. I have to feel good and comfortable. And if I don't, I have to get back to that. It's just like I put feeling good on a pedestal. And if I'm not there, well, then I'm striving to get there. When I get there, yeah, and it's like my God is to feel good, or good feelings.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that, Faith. That was very powerful. Just to come out with it and just to put it on the table and say it exactly like you said it. I notice I'm addicted to feeling good. And when I'm not feeling good, panic.
And that's what the whole world is. Basically, that's what the whole world is driving on, running on. It's got to feel good, got to feel good, got to feel good. Got to go on a holiday, then I'll feel better. Got to get some money, then I'll feel better.
Yeah, it's endless. And that's the thing to see about it, is that the me is never satisfied. So you can stay on this hamster wheel of seeking until your body takes its last breath. But for some of us, that's just not acceptable. I don't know why some of us feel that way and others it's okay, but it got to the point where to even think another thought became so painful, to believing that those thoughts were mine, so painful. And it can hit you that those thoughts were never yours, ever. Joyce?
I was saying hi to Dan.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Joyce. Hi to everyone. So I'll just, we could do a little recap. So Faith said very astutely, I think, we all belong to the Church of Feelings. That's our religion. We worship the good feeling. But what we didn't quite say is that that's where the thoughts come in, because the thoughts are what I'm going to use to get that feeling. The thoughts, and that's why my whole life becomes a whole made out of this. All this whole I build a ship out of the thoughts that's going to take me to the good feeling, and that creates the me. So now I have the whole package. I have the thought of me, and I have the good feelings, and then I have all these thoughts and beliefs and everything that makes up me, and then I'm riding that ship, except the ship just goes in a circle, and it's no fun. So where does that leave us? Faith, you can unmute. You want to say some more?
No, not really. I'm just enjoying what you said. And when you said, where does that leave us? I'm imagining this ship spinning around like Michael talks about.
Going down the drain,
spinning.
huh?
So,
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't leave you anywhere, because when this is seen, there is no you. So nothing replaces the me. It's not replaced.
Yeah, it's not replaced, because the only thing the me was about was just this closed loop of trying to find that feeling, right? Trying to get that feeling. But when we see this, we see the feeling actually was not, that's not really what's wanted, because we've all had the feelings. I mean, we have, the feeling is, there's no feeling that's going to be it. This it that I'm looking for is not a feeling. The me thinks it is, and that's part of the craziness. What this it that the me is looking for is actually this that's already here. So when that's seen, then pulls the rug out from the whole, well, I don't know, we're switching metaphors here,
Yeah.
but it flushes the toilet that's the boat was circling around, I guess. Anyway, just that whole thing, it bursts the bubble, let's say that.
Yeah, because the me is seeking, and as Dan just pointed out, this, right? This is what, quote unquote, you're looking for. You're looking for this. But the seeking isn't. You see the problem? The seeking says, no, it's not this. I already know what this is. That's why I'm saying the knowing is an illusion. You actually don't know what this is. Go ahead, Faith.
I know, I was just going to say, when I realized that I'm constantly seeking this feeling good or feeling better or what, then it enables me to relax, a bit like Joan said. I can relax into what is here now. I'm not resisting that I've got, that I'm experiencing here. Even if it's fear or anxiety, I can stay with it better than when I'm worshipping the good feelings. I can just relax into that.
By the way, the me's trump card is fear. Fear is its best weapon to make it feel real. Nothing gets your attention more than when your me is fearful. That's when it feels the most real. And the recommendation here is just to be with the raw feeling. So yeah, a sensation of fear can arise, but the message here is that is not your fear. How on earth would you have manufactured fear in your body on command? You wouldn't have a clue how to do it. It just happens. It just happens. So it's not personal. You need a me to take the fear personally, because like Faith said, oh, I don't like fear. I want the good feeling. So now I got to get to work because fear is arising, not what I want. I got to go to the future. Like Dan said, I'm going to use my thoughts to figure this out. And that is just a loop. And come back to the simplicity of this moment. There's just what's happening and no one's doing it. So if fear is arising, that's just what's happening, but it's not your fear. And that makes such a difference when it's not yours. I cannot tell you how that, taking off the words my from fear, instead of it being your fear, it's just fear.
Michael, there's no me, but we're not denying that there's a sense that there's a me. And that's a fact, right? I have a sense that I'm around, that there's a Ron.
Yeah. It can feel like it, but what I'm saying, Ron, is what I've come to realize is that isn't a problem. The me will use that as an example of you failing. You haven't figured it out yet. You need to go more satsang, more books, more videos. So the message is, it doesn't mean anything. If the me shows up, guys, who cares? Don't give it more importance. It's just another appearance. Honest. It doesn't mean anything unless you believe it does.
So in terms of the discussion that Dan and Faith just had regarding feelings, I think I heard it, but I want to clarify. I mean, if I wake up and have a good feeling or anytime, it's because I have good thoughts, right? I mean, they're synonymous. Are feelings synonymous with the thoughts? And when I have bad thoughts, I feel bad. But is there a distinction between feelings and thoughts?
They seem very linked to me. They seem linked somehow. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how, but it feels that way to me too somehow.
Mm-hmm. But
I
the
think
thing,
that's,
go ahead, Dan.
yeah, I think that's right. The point that I was actually kind of pointing to, though, is that when there's that, we don't actually, if I'm me, I don't actually wake up and just have a feeling. If it's a good feeling or a bad feeling, what I do experience is that if I have a good feeling, And all of a sudden me is there, and it wants more good feeling, and it wants even better good feeling, or it wants the feeling to stay. And that's what starts this thought machine. But it happens so fast, it's not even, it's almost like one thing. And if it's a bad feeling, it's the same thing. I want to get rid of the bad feeling, and I want to never have it, but the thoughts are that, because the thoughts are what I can use. They're my tools to be able to deal with this situation of having, the wrong feeling and wanting the right feeling, which is what the me is always doing. So that's how the feelings and the thoughts to get all connected.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
That sure is clarifying too, yes.
But it all makes the me. That's the thing. The me, it creates the me as the solid thing in the middle of all this, who's always doing something to get out of this mess, to get to the good stuff.
Charles, did you have something?
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether my mic was on it. So that's the flip side of the fear, right? I mean, desire. Desire is the flip side of fear, that, we want to, there's things that are right in front of us that we can react to in terms of good or bad, or there's a car coming at me and I need to jump out of the way or whatever. But when you start to take it out of your own here and now into a timeline, you have memories. Fears are based on memories. Desires are based on memories. You project that into the future. And that's the vehicle by which the ego takes you out of the here and now.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to add that the most important thing about thoughts and feelings and actually everything is that they're actually empty. What makes them real or seem real is your belief in them.
And the more you resist, the more they persist. We use that analogy of the Chinese finger thing, where the more you pull it, it tightens around your fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with thinking. The more you pull, resist it, the more.
Because thinking reminds me of the Lay's potato chip commercial. You can't have just one. You cannot have just one thought. No. As soon as you touch one thought, it's going to lead to another. What else? That's the currency of the mind. Thought to thought to thought. That's all it's got. So the only way it can get you is if you believe your thoughts are real.
That was a good one, Michael. I wrote that down. Thoughts are currency of the mind. I like that.
Thank you, John. Anybody else?
So I'm thinking, so if I wake up in the morning and I don't feel good, then I don't feel good. I allow that sensation, that body sensation, whatever it is, without having to think about what I'm going to do with it. So if I can just stay with the body sensation without going to I used to have a teacher who used to say, don't touch the next thought. So I guess it's about just wake up, okay, I don't feel good, staying with that good feeling, but not touching the next thought.
Well, the me is gonna touch the next thought, because again, as Dan said, that's all it's got. So you're not taking that away from the me. So if you're identified as the me, you're going to be taking your thoughts seriously. But the more time you spend meditating on the fact that everything is empty, I don't normally give practices out, none, but you could do worse than sit and just be still and notice that everything is inherently empty. It's sort of like when you thought your thoughts were real, they seem like real money to you. So your thoughts seem very valuable, but you come to find out that it's actually fake money. It's counterfeit. The thoughts actually don't do shit. How great is that? The thoughts actually don't do anything. Come on. Who said they're not going to touch that pie in the refrigerator at 11 o'clock at night, and 11:15 I got my hands in that damn pie, and I said I had a thought, I'm not going to touch that pie. That's not what happened. So you have all kinds of thoughts. They don't determine what you do.
So you're off
So
the
is it, if it's not,
Haagen-Dazs and you're onto the pie? Sorry, Faith. I had to get that one in. Michael's analogy is
That's it.
always the chocolate Haagen-Dazs. So I guess he's onto the pie now. So sorry, Faith, go ahead.
It's evolving.
Michael, I'm making a chocolate cake.
There you go. There you go.
What kind of pie? My knee wants to know.
Oh, I don't know. What are your guys' favorite pies? I don't know.
Pecan and pumpkin.
Oh, love pumpkin. This
Faith,
is
are you going to say something?
I've lost my train of thought. Gone down the pie route.
Sorry.
oh, no. I got everyone.
It's funny. We call it a train of thought because it is a.
Wow. That's good, Joan. Yeah, it's like and not just a train, but a freight train.
Yeah, train of thought. I just got that.
So Michael, I do have something because it takes me 30 minutes to officially join the group. Dan knows that.
You're right on time.
Right on time. So back to the beginning. You were talking about the me not caring. And I have a question. So let me see if I can figure this out. I see a beautiful sunset, right? So there's a feeling of beauty. Now, I mean, that to me doesn't feel like necessarily it's the me, it just feels like it's what's happening, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like if I'm in that space, and let's say I'm around my niece or nephew or someone, anybody, my family, my friends, I feel like I care about them from a place of that sunset analogy, not so much the me, because you said something along the lines of that the me is, I don't know if you said always, but it sounded like, the me is basically out for its own, it's not interested, like it's kind of how you put it, in other people's me or story. So I was having a little bit of a hard time with that because I feel like that there is a part inside, or can I say the word me? But there's a part of me that is not the me in a way, but it just feels like this very genuine, authentic.
Yeah, no, that's it. What I'm saying is you're way more compassionate when your me is not there.
So you can care. So then you're not saying that you can't care about somebody else. You're just saying from the me's perspective, you can't.
Right. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying the less me, the more compassion.
Okay.
I think it's useful to distinguish between, well, I mean, the words that you use can be arbitrary, but between pleasure and bliss, you know. Pleasure is like the me trying to fulfill its desire for pie, right? And bliss is the me out of the way emergence with everything that could be the sunset or a riot at the Capitol building, or anything, or your niece, or your nephew, or the love for the dance of eternity, right? That's a different kind of, a feeling, because it's not motivated by the fulfillment of the me's desires or the ego trying to manipulate the world. It's actually getting into that flow and enjoying the game, whether you win or lose, right?
Yeah, for me, I'm just saying for me, the word bliss, I don't really know from. Like that is I know a big spiritual word that they use as enlightenment, he's in bliss. That is not my experience. My experience is there is, for me, the word peace. There is a peace that pervades everything.
Like flow.
There you go, Alan. Yeah, you can't, Charles, you can't attribute it to anything. That's the difference. For the me to have peace or bliss, it needs to attach it to a specific experience. And once it's had that experience, then of course it tries to seek it again.
So we could just say really simply that in those moments, like just being with the sunset and the beauty and feeling that lightness or whatever, then the me has gone away. The me isn't there for a moment. And that's why that feeling is there. And you feel connection, you feel peace, you feel expansion. And the thing is, those moments don't really last because the me doesn't go away, except for moments. And then, of course, a lot of people, they do meditation to kind of prolong those moments and, do those, kind of try to get more of them. And that's, maybe something that can be done, although we say here that isn't really, it doesn't really work. Only what works is seeing that the me is not real and not true.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. The way I say it is, it's not that your me is going to disappear. That's not what we're talking about. It's that you've never been a me. That all those childhood experiences that we all thought were happening to us, it turns out that was just part of the spell of being a me, and it was very innocent. And so nobody did anything wrong. So there's no blame, no beating oneself up. That's just more me coming in the back door. Oh, you're such an idiot. How could you believe it? No.
I think it's
And
worth breaking down the
Michael,
word. Sorry.
whoever, go ahead, either one. Charles, Faith, both.
I'll just jump in because
can I-
Faith, you.
No, I was just going to say, what about the space between the thoughts?
What about it?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Just stay there.
is that, yeah, stay there. Is that Is that the piece that you're referring to?
That's what I was pointing to. That's
The
exactly
space
where I was
between the
pointing.
thought.
Yeah, that's where I was pointing.
And yeah, exactly. And it's not that the piece and the space go away. It's just that when the thought is there, it's sort of superimposed over the space or the piece. So, but it's not like the space or the piece goes anywhere. It's ever present. And that's the thing to begin to notice, is that this piece and this spaciousness, we could call it love, is always ever present. But it's just not noticed when we're lost in story. That's all.
Because it's not the thoughts that take me away from the piece. It's my paying attention to the thoughts. If the thoughts are here, it's just like birds flying by or anything. The whole issue is, am I paying attention to that? When I pay attention to the thought, that builds this me, puts more, shoots more juice into the me machine.
Can I ask you something then, Dan? As a practical exercise, would you recommend, like a thought comes up, and to actually to not go with it?
Sure.
You know, just get practice at not going with it, and oh, there it is, and then sort of just let it go away. Because it's, I guess you call it getting involved with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially the thoughts that come up 500 times a day, the same thought.
Yes, I would recommend that, particularly if it feels like something for you to do, and see what happens. I mean, we kind of talk about these practices sometimes as halfway house, which can be helpful. It's still something that Ron is doing to try to deal with his situation. So in that sense, it's not going to be a freedom. It's better to see Ron, but yes, I do think personally, I think it is helpful. Just sort of like what Joan was talking about, the relaxing. These things are helpful, I think.
And
Holding up that it's a thought, like there goes another one without identifying with it.
well, I just want to give you the fast track, because the shortcut is seeing that they're empty. Because then you don't have to babysit every thought. And that's the problem wrong with that plan, the idea that each thought you're going to monitor and decide not to attach to. I would recommend, I would say better to just sit down, take 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and just sit and be with this emptiness, that all thoughts, all feelings are inherently empty. Because that'll summarily dismiss all of them in one fell swoop. If you can see that they're all empty, you don't have to cherry pick anymore. You just know that it's counterfeit. The thoughts are counterfeit. End of story. They can be useful, but you're no longer a slave to your thoughts. There's no freedom in being a slave to your thoughts.
But if the thoughts are too strong and too busy, and there's too much going on, then what Michael just said can actually be very frustrating. So that's when I say, doing these practices can be a good thing. Yes, particularly if you're feeling like doing it.
Yeah, but listen, don't wait until you're stressed, Ron. Don't wait till I'm saying sit quietly when you're not involved with a story. You know what I mean? People wait till the house is on fire, and then they're trying to go, oh, it's all empty. No, it's too late. Your hair's on fire. It's a 5-alarm fire. You're believing it. Do it. Do it when you take it seriously. That's kind of one of my old Michael's going to get up on his soapbox. But I noticed that I will spend hours or days or even weeks on one sentence. So if someone says, well, all thoughts are empty, I don't believe them. So you don't want to just believe this. You need to sit with your thoughts and feelings and be with them in a real way. Listen to your thoughts, listen to your feelings instead of reacting. You may have a different experience if you actually take the time to do this.
Check out last week's video, because last week's video, the theme was emptiness, and it was really, really good, Ron. So I would really recommend, based on everything Michael just said, last week's video was really good, and it was about emptiness. So there's a plug.
Thank you, Alan.
Got
I
your
wanted
back.
to give a little, say a little bit more about the idea of bliss. You called it, relaxation, love, flow, peace. The term bliss is actually only part of the concatenated idea that the Hindus use. It's actually called Satchitananda, which is three jammed together. It's being, consciousness, bliss. So that sense of just being here and then focusing on the consciousness, or just being the consciousness, bliss, and this the bliss of awareness that kind of flows from that. It's three things in one in the burrito there when you manage to put it all down. So three more words to go with your flow piece.
But that's just a description of what is here always, and that you notice, let's say, when the me's gone, or when, however we want to say this. But the only thing that prevents the Satchitananda is the me, and not that it prevents it, but I'm saying there is only Satchitananda, if you want to say it in that way. Sometimes we just say nothing, or we say whatever, empty fullness, but that's the this that we're talking about. It's just the me that sort of puts itself in the way, or seems to. And so then there's no Satchitananda there, and the experience is all this other stuff of needing to get, and then needing all the thoughts to get, But yeah, you take the me away, then you have Satchitananda, being, existence, or being, bliss. Yeah, whatever. So awareness, being, awareness, bliss. Yeah, that's the secret. Charles just spilled the beans.
I just opened the can, you poured them out.
But then the me comes in and says, oh, that's a bunch of bullshit. Come on. And so then the games continue.
So I think I'll end tonight by saying that the hardest thing for you to do is nothing.
Hmm.
Because you already are. Whatever it is you're seeking, you already are it. So any trying to get there would have to sweep that aside and say, no, I'm not it, but I'm on my way to becoming it. And that's the lie.
Nothing is the one thing that the me can't do.
Right. That's good. That's a good one to end on. Yeah, because the me is a something, and a something can never do a nothing.
I'm writing that one down.
Thank you so much to everyone for coming this night. It was so great to have you all here. Alan, thanks so much for the donation, my brother. I really appreciate it. I'm available. If anybody wants privates, you can email me. We have the non-duality community on Facebook, Michael Jeffries non-duality community. Please participate. Tim Cliss is dropping in there. If you haven't seen our video together, check it out. Tim Cliss and Michael Jeffries have a conversation about nothing. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
You
A great
too. See you
day.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Michael, will you post that?
The what?
The video with you and Tim Cliss?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Just do Michael Jeffries and Tim Cliss and you'll get it on YouTube. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.